ALG really saved me. I put all of my success on joining this group. People constantly checking in saved me.
I made so many friends with people that I've never met, but I feel incredibly close to, and I consider them family.
It really is a family. It is a place where you can just be yourself and there is no judgment. There is no shame. You are so welcome there.
Nobody has to be in this alone. Everybody is either going through or has gone through the same thing at one point.
Let's do this.
Welcome back to the ALG podcast. If you're listening to this on the day of drop, then happy Friday to you. Really quick at the top of the show, guys, if you could 5-star rate and review the show, those 5-star rate reviews go a really long way, and David and I both love reading them. Also, as we said last week, the ALG podcast is sponsored by Redcon One. You can use promo code T20JARPS.
JARPS.
That's T20 JARPS for 20% off your entire order from Redcon One. Whereas I got this.
My office is the gym. That's dope.
Yeah.
Was that through them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I like their t-shirts, dude. Their shirts are really nice. I like gym t-shirts. I like gym t-shirts that make my chest look big and my shoulders and my arms look big.
You mean bam, 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 bam,
yeah.
Bam, bam, bam.
But there's some gym shirts that I feel like are just cut way too wide in the belly.
Yep.
And not tight enough in the arms and shoulders.
Yep.
Redcon One knows what they're doing. Cheap plug there. So yeah, you could use that promo code. And righty. I think
I'll kind of share something off the top of my head real quick before we dive more into the show. Guys, as you see, if you're watching YouTube, I have a band on my arm. I donated blood today. And it's not the point of me saying donate blood, or I'm celebrating me donating blood. Donate blood, people. Donate blood. It's 3 hours of your life every year. You can do it every 4 months. So 1 hour, 3 times a year, and you're saving someone's life. Just do it. Just put it out there. That's just a little plug.
Yeah. Blood. Not really. Save a life. Donate some blood. I used to donate a lot of blood in high school.
You did? Yeah.
Yeah. I used to like doing that. And
see,
then
I'm a tank when it comes to
stop.
Donating blood is so easy for me. I could double donate and just go work out. It doesn't affect me. Like my science, my hemoglobin was like a 17.9 and my iron is like 1400, which is really high. And so I donate blood so fast and it's just so easy for me.
Oh, I know why they made me stop donating blood. For some reason I have a really high white count all the time. Yeah. So then every time I donate blood, they'll run my blood. Then I'll get a phone call saying I should probably go see an oncologist. And it's just a revolving door. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. This happens every time I have to get surgery too.
Oh yeah. High white count. And they're talking about infection or leukemia or blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's a little tidbit about me. Kind of high white blood cell count.
Did you know that? Now you know.
All right, guys. So on this episode of the ALG podcast, we're going to be talking about different highs and lows on our personal journeys, and hopefully some of the stuff that we share today you can relate to.
And 100 and unique perspective too. So I'm going to start off with this one because I just found this fascinating. I'm in a little unique situation that I haven't gone to the gym in the last 13 days. For multiple reasons. And on top of that, my nutrition, so I had this sickness, wasn't COVID, right during a buddy's wedding, that's why I left early because I was like, this is not good.
He had 2 beers and got really drunk.
2 beers, hammered, puked everywhere, puked on the
you puked on the bride?
Bride. It was a bad situation. No, but so I literally lost 6 pounds in 2 days. So I went from 248 down to 242, 243 in 2 days. And those last 12, 14 days, I haven't gone to the gym. I've been walking, but no real strength training. And my nutrition's been a 5 out of 10, I would say, maybe a 4. I've had some Cheesecake Factory. I've had some cheesecake. I would say every third meal is not ideal right now. And I got on the scale for the first time this morning, and I was expecting, for my last one being like 242, 243, I was expecting to be like 250 because of the carbs I've been eating and all this kind of, and obviously I didn't gain 8 pounds of fat.
Right.
But that's what I was expecting. I stepped on the scale and I was still 242.
Wow.
And I was just like, this was not what I was expecting. And so it is so fascinating. I've been doing this for 7 years, and just how the number on the scale can trick you at times for the benefit and for the detriment. Like, for example, I think what happened is over the last 2 weeks, since I haven't gone to the gym, I probably lost a little bit of muscle mass, and the fact that I probably gained a little fat. But since they equaled out, that's why the number on the scale hasn't changed. That's my only guess.
Absolutely. Same scale.
Yeah, same scale, same everything. And same, I weigh at the same time every day. And so, just something fascinating. And like, just like top of my head, for all you guys who overly focus on the scale, it is crazy how many stories that you hear from other people, even for myself. Like, I was expecting a 248 to 250 and it was 242. I'm just like, interesting.
Wow.
Not what I was expecting. But hey, that's part of the transformation that you have to start to get used to. Like,
absolutely.
So what about you? Kind of highs and lows during the transformation. I know it's interesting for us, because like, it's tough. I don't know how it is for you. I will admit my transformation in the midst of things is long enough ago now that like it gets fuzzy.
Oh yeah, I mean, same.
Does it get fuzzy for you?
6 years into this.
Yeah, I'm 7 for me. 7 pushing 8. And so like, it's long enough ago where those super emotional moments. I mean, I still will never forget the my biggest emotional threshold moment was because like for me, my first 50 pounds, all I did was hyper focus on that 2 pounds a week. Right. I didn't really put too much emphasis on the total weight loss. I didn't put too much emphasis on anything else than just like, all right, David, I'm 410. I'm gonna be 408 next week, and boom and boom and boom. And one of the biggest emotional thresholds for me was that stepping on that scale 50 pounds down the first time when I hit 360. I was like, that broke me. I remember being in my apartment and looking myself in the mirror in the bathroom and being like, David, you're going to fucking change everything about yourself you don't like. Mm-hmm. Like, and that was a big positive moment for me, but it didn't start day one. What's been in the midst of your transformation? What was one of your more euphoric positive moments?
I mean, obviously, losing the first 100 pounds was definitely one of those moments that took me by surprise. Well, not so much surprise, but like I was very, very hype about. But honestly, the one that really got me, and I post this video every now and again on Instagram. The first time I was able to weigh myself on a regular scale and not a pallet scale, that was like sick.
That's cool. Like, I never got that. I never got there.
Yeah, because like my hope for a very, very long time. The only way I was able to weigh myself was on a pallet scale at work. For those that don't know, my parents own a trucking company in JFK. So that has always been readily available to me my whole entire life, even before I got up to a point of no return. But that was like the only way I could weigh myself. When I first started working out with Steve, obviously,
did that fuck with you?
Yes and no. Growing up, having a scale in the house wasn't really a thing.
Okay.
My mom was really fit when I was growing up, like super, super fit. But I don't really have memories of a scale being around in my house. So like when I was a kid, I would go to work with my dad and I would just go fuck around on the scale, like just cause. So like going on that scale was just something that I just always did as a kid because it was there and I thought it was cool. And like they were weighing pallets on it. And I don't know. But then having to use that scale in order to get a reading on how much I was weighing and not being able to do my weigh-ins with Steve, that fucked with my head a lot. So
Okay.
like that, the first time it ever hit 299 and it didn't say error on the scale in the gym, I was hype sauce. Like I was freaking out. I remember I like,
Well, shit,
hulked
yours
up
only
and
went to
just,
299. That's the you see a lot of scales today. They do 350
yeah,
is a base, but yours only 299. That would fuck with me.
yeah. So, and not only that, so that was actually, so when I hit 299, it was like really also right around my 200-pound mark. Also, like my 200-pound mark came like very shortly after that. So it was like back to back, just like, let's go. Like, I can't believe this is happening. You know, just because I mentioned it, losing 200 pounds was also like wild to me. Like losing 100 pounds, that was like always the dream, because growing up, everyone was like, well, if you just lose the 100 pounds, you'd feel a lot better. Like for some reason, and they always made 100 pounds like that huge number, when really I needed to lose way more than 200 pounds. I mean, more than 100 pounds. But a lot of people don't look at it like that, because, you know, obesity to a lot of people is just being 100 pounds overweight. Obesity to me was being, you know, over 250 pounds overweight. So breaking a 200-pound weight loss goal really changed my whole entire perspective on life.
Okay. So the 200-pound mark was like the big catalyst. Okay.
At that point in time, I knew that I could really do anything that I set my mind to.
See, isn't it fun that, like, again, that's what I love too, is the fact of like that catalyst, that switch, that emotional threshold is different places for different people.
Yeah.
Like for me, it was the 50-pound mark out of my transformation. Some people, they can flip the switch day one. And like, they're like, I'm a different person, and like everything changes. Some people, they're 300 pounds into their weight loss transformation. They still haven't flipped the switch yet.
Right.
And it is fascinating how that switch can be flipped at so many different places.
Well, also, I mean, I just also want to put this into perspective. Also, I feel like that I was put into a situation where I gave myself no other choice than flipping of the switch.
100%.
Because of the fact that I had bariatric surgery.
Okay.
I think that alone pushed me in a direction, like a positive direction, because I gave myself no other choice, because I had so much pressure and so much doubt. Like, you have to understand something. My family never wanted me to have bariatric surgery, ever. Very against it. I've talked about this a million times. Not only that, but like my family just didn't think it was going to work for me. You know what I mean? No one ever talks about bariatric surgery until someone brings it up, right? And then all of a sudden, somebody knows somebody who had bariatric surgery, and of course, and it didn't work. So like, my family was just always like, "Oh yeah, it's not gonna work for you. You know, it's probably not gonna work."
You know, your Aunt Susie's sister's niece's cousin did that one time, and it doesn't work.
It was like, yeah. And I was just, it fucked with me so bad that I feel like it just gave me the kick in the ass that I needed to be like, no, fuck you. This is going to work. Because even now, when like my family really doesn't, they love me, they're proud of me, but they'll never give me credit to my face about anything that I've done. And I don't think that that's a terrible thing. I think a lot of parents are like that. But like when my dad's talking to people that haven't seen me in a long time, and then they see me and they're like, "Oh my God, your son looks amazing," or "Oh my God, I seen your son on Instagram or somewhere." He'll always be like, "Yeah, you know, he had that surgery like 5 years ago, and I just didn't think it was gonna work for him. Like, I just had my doubts." I'm just like, "You're a fucking asshole.
You're a dick." That's funny. Yeah, no, I get you there. It's that whole phenomenon is a whole thing in and of itself. But one of the things I know I want to talk about, I'm trying to recollect like some of the darker, like during the transformation moments. I know for me, one of the biggest ones because we've talked about this in community calls to different people, getting in a very dangerous habit of binge and purge.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Like, and so I remember relatively early on in my transformation, because I mean, for me, one thing that was really nice, my first 100 pounds pretty consistently was up at CMU, and in college, where my roommates all basically, we just came together with a Costco membership. And so I was the one that had the Costco membership. And so it was really easy. I was the one that got the food. And guess what? Since I was the one that got the food, except for if they bought pizza, our house was only full of chicken breasts and freaking vegetables.
Right.
And that's about it. Eggs, avocado. And that was pretty much, but there wasn't a lot of like chips
Snacks,
and dips and snacks. And so for the first 100 pounds, it was really easy because they were right there with me and all that kind of stuff. When I went to the beach house has always been this like, hey, relax. You can eat what you want, have the cake, have the ice cream. And I was still in the midst of this transformation where I didn't want to do that.
Right.
And I remember like psyching myself up of like, David, you're going to the beach house this weekend. You're going to stick to plan. You're going to pre-make your meals. You're going to do all this kind of stuff. And what would happen is I would do good throughout the day. And then all of a sudden 9, 10 o'clock would hit. People are going to bed. And I would just go downstairs to the kitchen and just fucking eat.
Yeah.
And I'm talking ice cream and cake and cookies and peanut butter off the spoon. And I probably ate 3,000 calories in a matter of 30 minutes.
Yeah. Or less.
And then you're like, afterwards, you're laying in bed and you're like, what the fuck did you just do?
Yep.
And then there were a couple of times I still remember this where I would go, all right, David, you fucked up so bad. We're going to do a fast tomorrow. And then we're going to work out twice as hard and we're going to get back on track. And I did that. And looking back on that, it could have easily gotten to a very dangerous place where like you binge and purge and then you go.
Yeah, but you were never making yourself throw up, right?
No, I was never gonna. No, it was basically I would just super restrict myself the next day and overtrain. So my purge wasn't throwing up. My purge was just like kicking my ass.
Right. I got you.
But I look back on that and it's one of those things where it's just like, it sets a dangerous precedent. I'm a firm believer in like, hey, it in and of itself, it's not bad, but it can really set yourself up for a dangerous lifestyle. And I'm glad I just figured that out pretty quick and got through it. I didn't really have anybody telling me, whoa, you shouldn't do that. Right. I just happened to just be like, you know what, let's just get back on the track. Cut the shit, get right back on track. But that fucked me mentally because I'm just like, I was doing so well. Then all of a sudden for me just to freaking eat a bunch of shit when I told myself I wasn't going to do it, it fucks with you. Absolutely. What about you?
I mean, so like I was always a very big night eater. I'm still a big night eater, obviously not to the degree of like I'm grabbing.
Now you stop at 9:35.
Yeah,
because exactly. At 9:37
you turn into a pumpkin.
Straight to.
Yeah, no, but like so my nighttime eating habits have changed in how much I'm consuming and what I'm consuming, right? So instead of Doritos, maybe I'll have a bag of Quest chips and yada yada yada. I've said this before, but so I remember right after I had gotten my surgery done, and I was a little bit into it, like I think I was like right back at like, okay, you could have solid food now type of thing, super restriction, solid food. And there was always like they give you like a list of like, okay, these are slider foods and this is what you have to stay away from. So for those that are listening that don't know what slider foods are, if you've had any bariatric procedure, it's food that doesn't take up a lot of space in your stomach. So like if you're a grazer or you're a snacker, that food really doesn't have a lot of density to it, so it's not going to hold up a lot of space in your stomach. So like if you're just casually eating pretzels or you're casually eating potato chips or you're eating ice cream, stuff like that, it doesn't hold a lot of space and you can eat a lot of it all at once. So I remember, I don't know what got into me, and I was just like not mad, but like I just remember not sneaking out. I was a grown man. I remember leaving my room and walking to the refrigerator. And at that point in time, I really hadn't snacked at night. I wasn't eating a lot because the surgery was so brand new. And my grandma, no, not my grandma, not alive. Sorry. Timeline. So my stepmom had bought rice pudding. Like a huge tub of rice pudding. And I sat there in a dark kitchen, only lit by the refrigerator light because
don't look at me.
Yeah, don't look at me. If that's how you're gonna do it, that's how you do it. And I housed that rice pudding. Like housed it. And I remember thinking afterward, well, you did it. You're a fuck up. Everyone was right. This is not gonna work for you. You're not cut out for this. Blah, 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 blah. And then kind of like having a conversation with myself, like, you're entitled to one fuck up and you had it. and there's no more of this, you know, and that was it. And like, I was able to kind of like coach myself through it in like a very dark hour, because half of me at that point in time was just like, oh, you figured it out. You hacked the code. Like, it's game time. Like, what else is in this house that we could eat right now?
Yeah, here's my cheat code.
Right. And it wasn't, and then that was the first time where I really realized, okay, I'm eating out of pure boredom and habit. I'm not eating out of hunger right now, because physically and mentally I can't be hungry, just because of how the procedure works and whatnot. So like, I just had to tell myself, hey, stop being a fucking idiot. Like, it's over. Like, you cheated so much of your life. Like, let's get a fucking grip on it now. Like, you have this golden ticket. You have an opportunity here. Use it to your advantage. And I think that was like the spark of the moment where like my total eating habits changed, and like the light bulb went off, because they say like everyone has that light bulb moment on their journey. And I think that was like one of those light bulb moments where I was just like, okay, you did it. Now you know how to not do this again. So let's not do this again.
Okay. Yeah, because I think that also played a role in my transformation, where it's like, personally, I mean, I sit there and think about, I have one of the most least flashy transformations. I mean, in my opinion,
What do you mean?
Because it took me 3 years to lose 150 pounds.
Okay.
Where it's
I
like,
don't know. I don't look at timelines like that.
well, I know, like, and that's what I'm saying. It's like where you have, I think this is going to be our classic tangent. And this is what we do. We start on premise, then it pivots, and then we have our banter, and everyone loves it. Do they though? Just the idea that society glorifies the most massive weight loss transformation as quick as possible.
Oh yeah, always.
And it sets a dangerous precedent.
Absolutely.
Where it's like you get these, I mean, we know a lot of them, and they lose the 190 in a year, 250 in a year and a half. All this kind of stuff. And that's what gets promotion. That's what gets, the person who loses 50 in a year all of a sudden goes, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I get no positive reinforcement. I have to lose 150 in a year for this to be celebrated.
Absolutely.
And so I do find it interesting on that way, where it's like losing 50 pounds in a year is fucking fantastic. I mean, it's like, shout out to Doug. I mean, Doug just hit his 50-pound mark as a coach with coaching with us,
right?
Being 50 pounds, and he did it in 3.5 months. And it's like, is that the flashiest thing in the world? It's great. It's not crazy.
Sustainable.
It's his numbers with us have been fantastic.
Right.
It is not the flashy ones that would get most viral on Instagram.
Right.
But it is what I love, because it is consistent. And so that's where I do get, this is kind of like the lows, kind of going off the low of the transformation. I will admit I went through different struggles where it's like, where I'm sitting there going, why the fuck am I not getting celebrated more on social medias when all these other people are doing it? And everyone says, oh yeah, well, David, you got 40,000 followers. I'm like, yeah, but it's not that how glorified. Actually, most of my account followers are from the network marketing days. And so I don't get the same amount of engagement that I used to get.
Right.
And so, but just that whole premise of the dark times of associating your transformation with the glorification of others, like people glorifying you of like, oh my gosh, look what you're doing is so amazing. It's like, fuck. You get hooked on that. I'll admit, like,
it's a high. Yeah, absolutely.
I went through that phase where it's like, oh, I was doing this by how many likes I could get. I was doing this by all that kind of stuff. And then again, getting past that phase of doing this for yourself, doing this because it is the way to treat your body and your mind with the most amount of love you can.
Absolutely.
But yeah, what's another like kind of negative one? Because I mean, obviously trying not to always go sunshine and rainbows is important. So what's another negative one you dealt with? I would say, if you don't have one, I got one. Kind of just.
Well, go ahead, and then I'll jump off that.
I mean, this goes off of the whole body dysmorphia, which is a just very strong term, or just like looking at yourself negatively. It is fascinating. Again, it's funny how something that used to really hurt you Now is like, because you look at it differently, you just don't, it's just not the same thing, which is like my man boobs, my pepperoni nipples. Like where it's like, I used to fucking hate it. Like I couldn't do it. Like I literally couldn't take a shirt off in a pool. I couldn't I was cold. It was all this. Right. Now it's like, I can sit here and do peck titty dances with my big old pepperoni nipples and not think anything of it. But that was not always the case.
Right. Absolutely.
What about you?
I guess body dysmorphia is definitely a good one. I think that automatically thinking that, you know, to go off the body dysmorphia thing, that, you know, needing excess surgery is, you know, is always the like, okay, you lost the weight, you have to get the surgery. You know what I mean? Like you have to do it. And like, so my tummy tuck was out of a need of, you know, I was getting a lot of rashes and infections and blah, 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 all that good stuff. Was I mentally annoyed at it? Absolutely. But just to put it into perspective on how, you know, it's not always sunshine and rainbows after you get a tummy tuck. Like I don't have the greatest tummy tuck in the world. Like I have complications because of my tummy tuck. Like I need a revision. And I still get body dysmorphia, even though I've had a tummy tuck. Same thing with my chest. My chest came out great. I love my chest. I will kiss the ground my doctor walked on who did my chest. But after doing my chest, I went through a really bad depression that I've talked about on here recently, you know, for 3.5 months, you know, that I would not want to live again. So, you know, you got to remember on every side of this journey, whether it's weight loss or, you know, muscle gain or, you know, plastic surgery, wherever you're at, there's pros and there's cons. You know, it's always a double-edged sword. It's not always great. It's not always the answer you're looking for. You know, I know people, you know, just for example, that have lost a ton of weight, hated how they looked, and then, you know, it struggled to put weight back on. You know, it's not, the grass is not always greener on the other side, and you always need to know what you're getting into, no matter what, you know, and do your research.
I love that. I love the whole thing of like, I mean, it's like us we both went through the phase of carbs are bad.
And
I've
been talking about this a lot lately. Yeah.
Carbs are bad. Or like, for example, with me, it was like diet Coke and anything synthetic sugars. I got to the point where like, I would almost rather have regular sugar than synthetic sugar, because I just thought synthetic sugar was the bane of existence and was like going to kill me. But I mean, that's part of the process for some people, where it's like the over restriction and the overindulge, and then finding that happy balance in between. But like, yeah, that was another one. I didn't touch a diet Coke for probably 2 years. And then
I didn't touch a grain of rice for like 2.5. You know,
it's interesting how some people just strategies with it all of like being super restrictive, losing the 200 pounds in a year and then finding your balance afterwards. And then other people, it's like, I just want to lose 2 pounds a week for 3.5 years. And that's the strategy I want to take. And it's like, sweet. There is such a different mantra. Like that's right. This is a tangent, but, a family member had to go see a dietitian just for different reasons. And it was so funny because I was asking him, okay, what did your dietitian say? Well, how this dietitian was mad that this person didn't have breakfast. Like it was somehow this awful thing. And I'm like, oh, shut the fuck up.
I hate
even dietitians are like making these mantras up of like, you need your breakfast. Oh, shut the fuck up.
The most important meal of the day. I mean, I'm doing a little something right now with my diet and my journey and everything that I'm really not talking about yet. But over the last 3 days, I've had to start eating breakfast just because of just what I'm doing, and it's
because macros. You're trying to hit your macros.
You know what I mean? And okay, so it's not real breakfast because I don't eat it till 11:20 in the morning, because that's just when I feel comfortable enough with eating.
It's 11:20. It's like breakfast. 6 a.m. 11:20. It's like the same thing.
But I'm still not the biggest fan of it, like at all. breakfast for me only happens on like a Saturday and or Sunday.
Okay.
You know, then I'm okay with kind of eating a breakfast because on the weekend I'm like not like super restricted. Right now I will be, but like I'm just not. I don't know. Breakfast is just whatever to me. But I remember as a kid always being yelled at. You got to eat your breakfast before you go to school today. You got to eat your breakfast. You're not going to learn anything if you don't eat
metabolism.
It breaks your brain moving. But yeah, breakfast is a hawk of shit.
If you like breakfast, sweet.
Good for
you.
you.
Have to have
keep
breakfast?
eating it.
No, you don't.
Right. You don't have to have breakfast.
No.
You know,
this has been. This has been
before we wrap this up. Hold on, we only gave one positive, so I feel like we have to give another positive. So why don't you give the people another positive?
So huge positive for me, and this is gonna sound crazy. One of the most positive moments for me was going to a UPW Tony Robbins event, like weekend, like a weekend getaway.
Yeah. I was supposed to do that. Right before COVID hit.
Honestly, it's a cult. But I'm telling you, it's an experience. I think you should do like some like
you walked on fire in that one, right?
Yeah, you walk on hot coals, and I'm like we're talking 2,000-degree hot coals, like the real deal, no fucking around, and just the whole process of 3 days of you're barely eating, you're barely sleeping, you're screaming for 15 hours a day. You're experiencing what it truly is to max out your capability, because the entire 2,000 people, 5,000 people in a room are at this level. They're at such a level of accountability for life. That's such an excitement for life. When you experience that for the first time, it feels like a cult. It feels like, and I'm telling you, it was one of the highest moments for me because it gives you perspective on what you're capable of.
Absolutely.
So what about you?
I'm going to talk about the one that a lot of guys are too nervous to talk about. First time I was ever able to see my dick again, like, laying 100%. Down or standing up.
Yep.
That was,
there you go, Billy.
Yeah,
you're there, baby.
Hey, and listen,
it's not
I know
just in the mirror.
Yeah, I know that some guys, they get weirded out talking about it. There's still, guys that I know that have this bravado of like, oh, I had a 12-inch long penis even when I was 500 pounds. And I'm just like,
yeah, okay.
All right, cool. If that's what you wanted to tell everyone in high school when you were the fat kid, then sure. But let's call a spade here, everybody. Yeah. There's only
there's a lot when there's body fat everywhere. It's got to go around certain things.
It's got to go somewhere. So yeah, definitely first time laying down or standing up, seeing that bad boy back. Looked at him, he looked at me. We gave each other a high five, and we went about our day. But like it was great. It was
That's
fantastic.
Too funny.
I was like, I haven't seen you since I was 6. He was like, me too.
Me too. That's funny.
All right, guys. I feel like that's the best part to end this on. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please feel free to 5-star rate, review the show, tell a friend to listen in. You can find us each and every single Wednesday night on the ALG community call that's going on accountable-lifegroup.com, pressing the event tab and logging in straight through Zoom. You can find us there each and every single Wednesday for absolutely free. If you're interested in ALG coaching, you can go on to algcoaching.com. We offer one-on-one or group coaching, totally customizable to you, your lifestyle, and your journey. We'd love to help you reach your goals. You can find the Accountable Life Group Journal on Amazon.com. And as we said at the top of the hour, if you are looking, you can save on Redcon1. They are a sponsor of the show, and you can save by using promo code T20 JARPS. That's T20 JARPS. JARPS. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Stay beautiful, stay sexy, stay accountable.
Toodles.